Here's your 3-minute medical update.
Hello again, this is Dr. Eric Spann. I'm coming to you with a new feature on our YouTube channel that will be a way for me to reach out to people who are interested in medical issues and wellness issues, or even now such as the coronavirus. We've had significant news out of China that has analysis showing that, as many of us expected, they had 25 to 100 times more COVID than they reported. The National Review this week referenced an article from the private think tank AEI, whose China expert has calculated in the article above that they've likely had about 2.9 million cases rather than the 82,000 that so many of us thought were just poor statistics and cover-up. Closer to home, we're adding about 20 to 30,000 cases a day in the U.S., with a general trend downward shown in the new daily cases from Statista. The trend is beginning to subtly shift toward flattening in the U.S., as you'll see just in a moment as we go over some statistics. To that, today Governor Hutchinson, at least yesterday, he showed the same trend line with fewer positive cases in the non-incarcerated Arkansas citizens, with about 10 less cases a day over the last 5 to 7 days. And the governor's likely going to have more updates in the coming days about church and barber shops and restaurants and opening up the country, we hope, not only just Arkansas, in a wise fashion. To the big graph, just a few points. Australia is nearly through with this, with only about 10 new cases a day in their 25 million population. Germany and Italy continue to flatten. Arkansas is still well under the modified trend line that I published for you at the end of March. And we would likely be where Italy and Germany are right now if there wasn't such a terrible excess of cases in our eastern seaboard metropolis cities, all the way from Washington, D.C. and Maryland up to Boston, including the excess in Louisiana. There are about 515 to 575,000 excess cases in the 1/4 of the population in those areas mentioned above, as compared to the rest of the country, including California, Texas, and the larger cities in the rest of the country. If the decisions had been made differently early in March in those areas, we would likely be near the end of this, just as some of those countries are in Western Europe. Just as a note, Stone County has only had 1 new case of coronavirus in the last 26 days. I'll leave you with 2 final thoughts. As you have noticed, we may have to wait on with sporadic cases of coronavirus here and there, with 20 or more cases a day popping up in states like Arkansas for the whole spring and summer. What does that mean? What if we still have 5 to 10,000 new cases a day in the United States over the next 1, 2, 3, even 12 weeks? Well, I have a physician friend who I respect, who's a deep thinker, and who disagrees with me, by the way, about all of this. He said something to me as follows. He said, we've got to find a way to live with this. And he's right. We're going to have to find a way to live with this. But for me, the quote of the whole pandemic came from a chronically ill friend of a family member who said, "It's my job to take care of myself, not the world's." Folks, many of our northern friends live in states where the governors have actually stated that it is the government's job and responsibility to, quote, prevent people from getting sick. We cannot be responsible for others, no matter how much we care for them. As you think about our rights and responsibilities, and yours in particular, consider this. I believe personally that we have got to rediscover that American grit that made us the greatest and most blessed nation in the world, and begin to also rediscover the honor and privilege of personal responsibility. Now there's a prescription that will start to make us well. Thanks for your attention. I'll see you in a few days.